You're listening to the Awkward Pillow Talk podcast.
We are Jason and Stephanie Class. We've been professional adult content creators for over 5 years, and we're here to talk about all things sexy and awkward.
This content is explicit, so you must be 18 or older to watch or listen.
These are our real life stories, so if any of that offends you, we'd like to say, fuck you. Visit virginitysnatchers.com to get in on the fun. Thank you, everybody, for listening to another episode of Awkward Pillow Talk. And today we've got a guest on, and this guest holds a very special place in my heart because I'm not a big reader.
No.
You've tried to force me into reading before. I remember there was times where you're like, hey, let's read 50 Shades of Grey. I'll read it to you out loud in bed, and then you'll probably get worked up enough to. Right. And I was like, yeah, I'll listen then. And even that didn't work.
Yeah.
But I was able to get through this book right here. Or at least the majority of it, I'll say. I can't promise that I read through the whole thing. I think I read through a good majority.
Of it, yeah.
And it's because it worked very well with my mind. And that is, it had many different stories. There was not one story that I had to focus on. There's just all kinds of stuff. And for me, it was nice because I was actually able to, relate back to our experiences that we had. And like back in our head, we're like, oh, we can close our mind and like picture some of the places, right?
Yep.
So today we invited Chris Santilli on to come and talk to us and share some stories about our favorite place in the world of hedonism. And Chris has another book coming out, Hedonism Before Harry. And we're going to be looking forward to reading that too. But let's go ahead and I'm going to see what I can milk out of Chris as far as some good stories on the podcast. So Chris, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Great. Thank you so much for having me. So, and we got to get you a new updated book. That covers, that's the second edition. It's on the third, and it's still going to be updated soon again.
Well, hey, look, I like, it's in good condition, too. Yeah. It's been part of our bookshelf, Chris.
Oh, how fun.
We don't have a big bookshelf. No. We got, like, maybe 8 books, and yours is the only one that doesn't have, like, a bunch of crazy, dirty pictures in it. So I feel like you should feel pretty honored that you made it in without having to go the smutty route. So.
Thank you. And also thank you for mentioning that it's good for toilet reading because there's short little itty bitty sections all over it.
That for me is what helps keep my attention is you can digest these things in just a short thing. Like you're going to do if you're going to go read a story online, right?
Right.
That's what she does to me every night is she'll find these little stories she read online somewhere and she'll go, oh, let me show this to you real quick. And every night at like
11.
5 minutes before bedtime when I'm like, I'm ready to be asleep. She's like, well, I got to show you some stuff. And she'll like go through these stories. And that's exactly what these stories are is something that's just digestible in small amounts. And especially I think if you're trying to focus on like getting your spouse comfortable with the idea, these are the stories you want. You don't want to be like, hey, here's a whole bunch to digest.
Or like, here's all these like doctor, like,
yeah, it's not all about
and all that. It's like these are real stories. So.
It's based. I think a lot of it for us is based in humor. In a lot of these stories, you can definitely find the humor in it, which for us helps break down all kinds of barriers.
Yeah.
So
I completely understand. I always tell people, people come up to me and want to share. I got a story for you. And they go on and on and on, and then they say, and then I came, and I'm like. An orgasm is not a punchline. That's what I constantly have to tell people. But there are sex stories, but they usually are humorous or poignant.
That is essentially been how we got into the lifestyle, Chris, is we started realizing that some of these situations were just so crazy that we could just laugh about it.
Right. Like,
exactly.
It's so wild and out there, and you're like, I don't understand like how this actually happened to us. And then
there's the quote, I believe, is it on the front of the book?
No.
I read it somewhere, I thought, where it was basically everybody leaves hedonism with at least one story that no one at home believes.
Yes, that's on the back of the book.
It's on the back. I was like, I remember reading it somewhere, but I was like, that is exactly it, because people really don't believe some of the stuff that happens there. Like, we always love to tell like our vanilla friends about our first experience with the car wash in Jamaica. And their eyes get huge, and they're like, "There's no way something like that actually exists." And we're like, "Oh,
Trust
we
me.
don't want to go too far into it because you have to be initiated to fully understand it."
Right.
Exactly. And the virgin initiations are fun. It involves rum cream.
Oh, we didn't get
So we
that.
didn't get that.
My
You got
goodness.
chipped.
I know.
So we snuck into Hedo kind of on our first time. I wouldn't say snuck in.
We didn't physically
We-
sneak in.
We snuck in according to like our family and friends, because we wanted to check it out, but we were kind of too chicken shit to just like go check it out, just
And
like
tell
everybody
them
else
where we
is.
were going to go.
So we went to beaches instead, which we didn't realize was a family resort.
Yeah.
We're like, damn, I guess we better get up to date on the Sesame Street, because I think that was the theme at the time, the Sesame Street. We didn't really even leave the resort once we got there, but we would just kind of happened to run into Harry on our he was the first person that we met. Harry happened to be on our transfer bus.
Sitting in front of us
From the airport to the resort.
Yep.
Was this before he bought the resort?
This was...
No, I think it was...
When was it? 2018?
18?
Okay, so he owned it by then.
Yeah, he'd already owned it because I guess we started talking to somebody that like sat across from us, and they're like, "Hey, do you know who that is?" And we were like, "No." They're like, "That's Harry. That's the owner." And we were like, "Oh, cool." And then I guess he heard his name and turned around. He's like, "How's it going?"
Yeah, I had a whole I got to have like a 2-hour conversation with him.
Yeah.
On that whole crazy ride to the...
I love that he takes the bus.
Yeah,
I do too.
I think it's funny. Like, it's cool that he can like talk to people and like hear their stories.
Yeah, I don't even want to take the bus, so I don't know why he is.
Yeah, I don't
I'm not sure that he still does.
Oh,
I wouldn't blame him. Honestly, there's got to be a certain point where that's got to be an exhausting ride. And I mean, I'm not saying it's super dangerous, but it's not like driving the roads in America.
That's for sure. Yeah.
They fly through those back roads, and you're like, oh, there was a goat, I think. There's a blur on the side of the road.
But your only real choice is the bus or a private car or to fly. And the flight is over $500 one direction for 2 people.
Yeah, we've done the flight twice.
Yeah.
That was back when I did real estate and not adult content, so I had a little more money. And it was worth it because we're like, when we got there,
we only had a limited time.
We had limited time, and it was like, okay, I could take 2 hours on that bus to get there,
and then 2 hours back.
Well, which we did on one time.
I don't remember.
Anyways, or we can get on this hopper plane, and it takes 14 minutes to get there.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty.
It's gorgeous. It was the first time we went. It was terrifying because the pilot took out his phone.
I'm sitting in the
put it up on the dashboard and started watching YouTube videos as he was flying.
I was like, oh, this is terrifying. Just like, because I was sitting in the front seat with the pilot. I think I leaned back and tapped on him. So I was like, look at what's happening. And he was like, oh my gosh.
Like, hey, as long as he's not looking up how to land, I think we'll be all right.
Good answer, right? Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. But I mean, it was really cool, but it was still that first time it was terrifying. And then coming into their little airport there, right next to the resort is, I don't know, it was a little
it's
unnerving.
Rocky. And if the chickens are on the airport strip, then they have to fly a low pass to scare off the chickens, and then they can come in.
I've never seen the chickens.
No.
Dang, that would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
We also, I don't think we ever did a proper flyby of the nude beach.
You did not buzz the beach?
They did not buzz the beach for us.
You have to ask.
I obviously need
we're
to.
We're going to have to ask next time, because that would be cool.
Yeah, we were looking for it, but I don't know. It's always an interesting experience at that airport too. Like the first time we landed there, I was immediately ushered into an office, and they were trying to get me to buy a bunch of illegal things, and I'm like, I'd rather not do that the second I land in the country. I've been in Jamaica 20 minutes, and somebody's trying to get me arrested already. I'm like,
right.
We're going to
this
pass
is
on
not
that.
what I want to do.
So that's probably a word of advice to some people is, maybe don't walk into the sketchy airport shack just because the people seem nice.
You can just buy it on property, either from the guys who walk the beach. There's a guy, Red Hat and Shellboy.
Fireman.
Yeah. They'll sell you what you need, because the public part of the beach is where the shoreline is, where the water hits the sand. And you could always get it at an official place on campus called Hedo that's owned by a previous general manager. And that lets you know what grade of pot you're getting.
Yeah.
And they also have edible mushrooms, I think.
That Hedo, I will tell you, I am a I'm a medical marijuana user here in the United States, and I took a hit of the Hedo. Well, I'm not sure what the hell it was. I've never been so high in my life. I could not, like, I ended up in a situation, Chris, where I took a hit and then I went to the nude pool, which is what you do. You know,
Yep.
you're trying to relax.
Yep.
I ended up being kind of like cornered by another couple.
Yes.
And I couldn't figure out how to say no. I couldn't, like, I kept on trying to leave the conversation, but my mind was just like so high I had to be nice for some reason. I couldn't just exit it. So I had to wait for my wife to come and save me.
You went to go get drinks, and I'm sitting there talking to somebody else, and then it's like, he's not coming back. I was like, he's just standing there, which is not like, it's not like you, but like I could just like see you're like, you were frozen, and I'm not normally the one that's like, ooh, let me go rescue him, but like
I have a really good tolerance for it. So
Right.
that to me is just the fact that I was standing in the middle of the pool, like, what the hell do I do?
I had to go save you and like bring you away from them.
And I think if I was not at Hedo in the pool, I probably would have handled that like whole high a little more calmly.
Yes.
But I think that was probably just one of those things where it's just like, holy shit, like, weird situation to be in.
Yeah.
Not something you train for. You know, you're naked, too stoned, and you've got two people coming onto you.
Yep.
I don't know how to function in this situation.
Right.
Nope.
I haven't planned
Sun's
for it.
getting you, drinks already, and
So
Yeah.
one thing that we focus on a lot, Chris, on this show is anxiety, because through Steph's entire journey, it has essentially been focused on her anxiety, and that's what's told her she can't do things or she shouldn't do things. And we take these baby steps to kind of, I guess,
not like get over them, but like
test the waters
Right.
and get used to it.
yes.
And we didn't quite have a chance to do that with Hedo, because I don't feel like that's something you can really do with Hedo.
You can't like prepare for it.
You have
really?
to. Well, you can certainly read
guess.
up on it, but you don't know what it's really like until you're actually in it. I don't think there's just something about the atmosphere in general. It's totally different than anywhere else.
True. I agree with you. I find that it's so social. It's bloody social. And it's not about looking like a goddess or a god. It's just you have to be able to talk. And if you don't talk, you're not going to be in the scene as in whatever you're looking for. It doesn't mean you have to go look for, I want to have sex. But you could get that, or you could, I want to make friends. So you have to be able to have those people skills to do that.
And I think that's what we lacked a lot the first few times we went.
Yes.
We were so in our heads. We were also younger than everybody else on the resort by like 25 to 30 years at the time,
If not more.
because of the week that we went.
Yeah.
And
Green sexy silvers.
we did that last
overlapped
time
with them.
accidentally. We don't care, because
Yeah, we don't care.
when we go to resorts, it's not necessarily like we're going to like screw everybody. We genuinely like to just make friends and talk to people. Hence, we have a podcast where we get to talk to people about this stuff.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
So, like, to us, it's great. One of my favorite stories to tell people too is one of the nicest asses I've seen on anybody in my life was this 75-year-old black woman at Jamaica.
Wow. That's impressive.
She had a limp, and every time she limped, that thing bounced, and I couldn't look away, Chris.
Uh-huh.
It was impressive.
I don't even want to call it a train wreck, because it wasn't a train wreck.
No.
It was like, just, she should not have had that. But I like to tell people, like, that's the kind of things you're going to see there.
Right.
Is you're going to see things that you're just not going to believe exist. Like, why does this lady have such a nice rear end?
Right.
She's limping. She certainly can't exercise.
Right.
That's just a God-given gift.
Yes, yes. What I'm always fascinated is because people are starting to grow in a little more pubic hair these days, but for a long, long time, it's bald all the way. And I have an obsession, not a sexual obsession, just because it's rare, red pubic hair. I have a collection of photographs, not legs spread, legs together, standing there, of red pubic hair, because it is so rare and elusive on the nude beach. And it just fascinates me when it actually exists.
I'd imagine those people are just asking for a sunburn, too.
Yeah.
Some
Probably.
of them, yeah. I remember being once at the YMCA and I saw a woman with a huge red bush in the shower, and I couldn't look away, but I had to look away because I'm at the YMCA. But at Hedo, you don't have to look away.
Nope, you do not have
that's
to
a
look away
tough
there.
concept that we tell people too when we come back from Hedo. Is you're allowed to look at Hedo and you get really used to that really quick.
Right.
That like you can just
stare
look
a little bit
and not
longer
have
than
an
you
issue.
need to.
But the second you get out of that and you don't have sunglasses on, you're going to catch yourself staring at somebody you shouldn't be.
Right.
Exactly. My favorite story, I'm sitting on the beach with my girlfriend and we're chitter-chattering and this gorgeous guy, we can see him walking toward us along the beach and we know he's going to pass us. So we both grabbed, like in unison without saying a word, we both grabbed our sunglasses and we both grabbed our books and we sat back and we held up our books as we looked over it as he passed. He was gorgeous. And then after he had passed, we both realized we were holding our books upside down.
That's hilarious.
Like, oops.
I love it. That's awesome.
So how many times have you been to Hedo, Chris? Do you have?
I've been there 71 times.
Wow.
And since 1985, so I've seen it grow up, and I grew up with it because I started at age 24.
Okay, I was curious about your first. What brought you to Hedo for the first time?
Oh yeah, I was single. I was living at home, and my parents didn't want me to go to the Club Med in to Thailand because they were scared of that. So and my second option was hedonism. I thought it was like a Club Med, and it was. And that's why it opened, because it was emulating Club Meds back when they were the swinging single days. So I went there. I didn't even know there was a nude beach for my first 4 trips at Hedonism II because I was having so much fun. Yes, I was getting laid. I was single. And it just, I never left the prude beach. It just was wonderful. And then I discovered why all those people I saw at dinner, I never saw them during the day. It's because they were down on the fun beach. And I thought I was having fun, but I even had more fun when I finally went down to the nude beach.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
I'm a slow learner.
Well, sorry, I take things in
that's
baby
how
steps
she is too.
Yes.
Her first visit when we went there, the idea of taking your clothes off is one thing, but then when somebody actually walks up to you and says you need to remove them because you're on the nude side,
that's awful.
That was just like her breaking point.
Well, because it was the travel day, so we'd been up for 15 plus hours of travel.
Yeah, we did the bus, we did the plane, and then they overserved your rum and coke. They forgot to add the.
I had a 32-ounce tumbler. I had probably 30 ounces of rum and just a little splash of the coke and
hungry, drunk, all that kind of stuff. And then they came up, they're like, you got to remove your clothes. And for her, it was just too much. She just broke down in tears right there on the beach. And we have another friend with us too. We had brought a unicorn with us that time, and we're both just sitting there. I'm like, oh great, I just fucked up my entire marriage by coming to Hedo. And then we go back to the room, and she was like, I just need to collect myself.
No,
first.
We went to the beach. We just went.
That was at the beach. You were crying.
Oh, okay.
We went back to the room. You collected yourself.
Okay.
And then the next day, we went to the nude pool by going to the grill.
Yes.
And they did it again. They walked up to us. They're like, you got to remove your clothes.
Yes.
So we did it. And then I can't get your damn clothes on now. No.
That's an old nudist saying about the second hardest thing about nudism is taking your clothes off, and the first hardest is putting them back on. Exactly.
I believe that, yeah.
That's how she is, absolutely. And it's just that once you realize that people are not looking at you like that, they're looking at you. But they're not judging. They're just looking.
Oh, we judge too, but we don't care. It doesn't matter. We'll still talk.
Maybe that's what it is. You're right. We do talk. We do talk. But I don't know how would you put that, Chris? What's a nicer way of putting that?
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm standing at the beach, and I see this huge mountain of a woman walking toward the bar at the nude beach. And I'm just watching, and her boobs are so long down to her waist, and they're clanging against each other like 2 big bells. And her, she's got shimmery fat just going on like crazy, and she's got the biggest smile on her face. And as she approaches the bar, I'd never seen her in my life, people are running up to her to say, hi, blah, 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 blah. And she was like the social princess of the world, and she would look so joyous. I just wanted to know her better. It would just... So it didn't matter what she looked like.
No, yeah.
It was a beautiful thing.
We have said that a few times. I like in one of our meetings, we saw a guy that looked like, to me, a cartoon character named Zoidberg.
Yes.
And it was like, I don't want to say it was hideous, but it wasn't for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then we got to talking to him. We're like, holy shit, this dude's awesome. I don't
Like,
care what
was
he looks
super
like.
nice.
Yeah. And that's why everybody else is talking to him
Right.
too, because he's got great stories. He's comfortable
good
in his own
personality.
skin, no
Right.
matter what that skin
Exactly.
is.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's what you want to learn from. Those are the people I want to learn from, because we've been trying to, do this whole thing where we're not giving any fucks anymore.
Yep.
And these are the people that really can teach us that. They've just embraced who they are, and they love their life. And
yep. We do have to remember, though, there are people who don't want to be bothered by people they are not going to bang, because they're on a mission from God. They're notching their headboards, and they are there also. But those aren't people who I want to hang with anyway, because they don't usually have a lot to say except, oh, So everybody's got their shtick on what makes Hedo their place. And it is becoming more of a swing. It's a swinger resort. It's officially a swinger resort. But non-swingers also go there. It refreshes a lot of marriages, I think. It helps people kind of get their groove on with each other, just because it's a sexy place.
Yeah.
And
to us, it destigmatized sex, as crazy as that sounds.
True.
Because it's wild there. It's so wild that you're just like, well, damn, everybody's doing it. You know what I mean?
It doesn't matter where or how.
They're
or with
having
who.
fun, and
like, everybody's having a great time.
We can trump just about everybody whenever they're doing that. Oh, what's the craziest place you've ever had sex? Right. We're like, nude pool, Jamaica, had a crowd of like 100 people surrounding us, watching us and clapping.
We had no idea.
And all of our friends were like, oh, it was like a bathroom at the mall.
It's kind of funny.
It was our closet, and you're like, wow, cool guys. Like,
sorry
we went first.
Over at the hot tub in February, they built a lifeguard chair that's really rough, probably for insurance reasons. And the minute it was installed, there were people on it fornicating just to break it in. And I'm sure they got splinters. It was so rough.
I saw the pictures of it. It didn't look like the lifeguard stand we took pictures in on the beach.
It's not the same one, right?
No. This is just primitive.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked like it was just thrown up for, okay, we got one.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a lot of it. Well, that's why there's stairs and handrails everywhere now for insurance reasons.
So can you tell us a little bit about what we can expect in the book you got coming out, Chris? Because I love Hedo history.
Oh my gosh. And I've been learning lots of it. I've interviewed the architect of Hedonism II, who built it in 1976, Marvin. Okay. He is 91 years old.
Wow. Okay.
So I've got the scoop on that. That'll be in the book, of course. I learned that Hedonism II, when it first opened, or before it was called Negril Beach Village in 1976, it became Hedonism II in 1981, and there was never a Hedonism I, except as a website about in the year 2000 or so. But I learned that originally they allowed families at Negril Beach Village if you had kids 6 years old or older. But that was only for a few years. That went away real fast, and barely any families brought any children there. And it was always the dirty dog place that we know it is. So it didn't have to change at all in its temperament. It was always originally for not for swingers, but for singles to get their groove on. But couples always came and grew and grew and grew. So now it's mostly couples. And the boys versus the girls. Now, when it first started, there was 5 men, single men, for every single woman. So when I was 24 and first went, I was a bitch in heat. Oh my God. It was just fabulous. Talk about feeling like a goddess. At home, I'm not a goddess. And I have choice of the litter. This is fabulous.
Right. Yeah.
So it was quite an empowering situation.
That's awesome.
Shall we say.
That's awesome.
That's a good way to put it. It is empowering.
Yeah.
And women get confidence. I've never was so confident as after I went to Hedonism II.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't care what I look like or how, I am good.
The comfort level that you've gotten with your body too. Because, I mean, you used to be, she's a porn star now, so she's extra comfortable. But
I've gotten there.
I mean, we give Hedo 100% credit, because like if you weren't able to be comfortable just walking around naked and chilling, we certainly couldn't do any of the other stuff that we do. That broke everything. We'd been to a nude beach before, Hedo. I got naked. You refused.
Yeah.
Well,
So
a lot of women are worried about being looked at. And some women, my biggest fear was not being looked at, because I was normal when I was 24. I looked fine. I didn't want anyone to think I was a slut. But then I didn't realize that a slut is just a woman with the morals of a man. So it's really a good thing. And you should be proud and own it.
I'm friends with so many sluts.
Yes. Yes. But the funny thing is, I was such a bimbo back then, and I didn't realize everybody actually knew it back when I was young. I would keep wanting to whip out the guitar and go, "When I was young." but a lot of things that people worry about at Hedo, they're worried, where can I be naked? Do I have to be naked if I have a nude side room? What do I wear? What do I expect? How do I turn down people? How do I accept people? How do I hit on people?
Yeah.
What group should I go with? What day of the week should I go? What time of the year? There are all these things they get all worked up about, and it doesn't really freaking matter. Just appear, and you'll be good.
Yeah.
We are frequenters of Joe Canino's group, our favorite Jamaican
but
vacation.
We've never actually been with.
We've never been with him, but we the group on Facebook, and those are the questions.
Here.
You literally just asked every question I've ever seen posted there.
That's why I go to Joe Canino's site, so I can see what people want to know, and then I put it in the book.
Well,
so that all these things will get answered.
I like that.
Alongside the stories.
Yeah.
But you are absolutely right. Those are the questions, and a lot of those things, when you actually get there, just become not a big deal anymore.
Like, we've packed multiple suitcases worth for all the outfits and all this, and then I get there and I wear the same shirt every single day, and I'm just like, because I don't need to wear clothes. Like, why would I we've done like the dressing up for the dinners and all that, but like for now, like we just are enjoying being there, so we're just gonna throw something random on and just go and not worry about all the different.
Yeah, I'll take one pareo, and sometimes I'll just go to lunch wrapped in one of the big blue beach towels because it's comfy, and just sit down, and that's good enough, and have the hotel buy your clothes because it's a towel. Yay!
Yep.
Easy peasy.
Exactly.
So how often do you go to Hedonism now?
2 or 3 times a year.
2 to 3 times a year.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm retired. I got time and money.
True. Hey, we're working on it.
We got these kids that we just have to figure out how to get around.
They're holding us back.
That's all right. We figure the patience will make it even better when we can finally
Yes. And hey, you have someone to choose your nursing home. I do not.
Okay.
Let's see if they want to.
So they may not want to.
No, that's one of the things that people kind of give us a hard time about and judge us for is the fact that we have kids and we do adult content and we do all these things and we're swingers and we're like, that doesn't have to do with the other thing. If it has anything to do with it, it gives us more flexibility to be with our kids. Our kids are crazy talented, and it's because we are able to go off on these adventures and actually know who we are ourselves and our marriage.
Yes.
That allows us to teach our kids how to be themselves.
Exactly. It's that old taboo thing against sex again. And it shouldn't have a taboo. It's just, it's a natural function like eating and breathing.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But everybody thinks it's like this big, nasty thing, and you're like, it's definitely not. Like,
it's a very United States theory. In Europe, they're a little less worried about things.
Now, let me ask you this, Chris, because I feel like I think I asked Joe this question when I talked to him too. But to me, it seems like there's enough popularity with hedonism that there should be another one popping up in Jamaica, or that somebody would copy it. Is there something that's preventing another one from popping up?
Well, they have, desire resorts. There's 2 of those in the Cancun area.
It doesn't match to me.
It's not the same. It's not as much fun. It's not built on the concept of being social. And I think that's what makes hedonism fly. There used to be a Hedonism 3 that was, you know about this, in Runaway Bay area?
We've
So
heard about it. We
we've
never got
never
to go.
been, but
Okay,
we've heard
from
about it.
1999 to 2010, they had Hedonism III was open, and it was similar based on the same idea. It had a lousy beach though, and back then the two hotels were cannibalizing each other because there wasn't enough marketing for each of them. So it did close, and they changed it to a family resort. So there is definitely the opportunity to do that. I have never heard Harry say that he's going to open another one, but
Well, yeah, no.
somebody,
I just kind of assumed that somebody else would want to jump in with
Or
it.
like
right?
do it stateside somewhere. I mean,
Well,
like
and
in
they
Oh
do. They
God,
got
America,
no, think
secret.
about the laws
I
of
know.
what we can do there that
What
you
is it
can't.
about? Do you know what it is about Jamaican law that allows it? Like, do they just
I
ignore it?
think it's just because it's legacy. It's been there for so long.
That's kind of what I've been assuming too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't know
not
if it was.
legal. It is not legal.
But
That's why if you fornicate on the, I love the word fornicate. It just sounds biblically dirty, doesn't it?
It does. I
yes.
love it.
If you're on the shoreline, they don't want you to fornicate there because the police, if they come by, they will arrest you. But I've never heard of the police coming by and arresting anybody in the 40 years I've been going to this hotel.
I've
So
definitely seen people doing it on the
I
shore
know, but
and in the waters. And,
technically speaking, that's
ooh,
verboten, but
I didn't
it
know.
happens.
Well, that answers my question. So thank you. That was kind of my assumption. Is just like it's just Hedo, so it just gets to do what
It's
it wants
just
to do,
right.
Yeah.
and that
I
is
mean,
essentially the answer you gave me.
and the U.S. would have to pay higher rates for everything because
Okay.
everything's more expensive, except the food in Jamaica is expensive.
I believe it.
But I don't think it could be financially feasible in the United States itself.
Yeah, we tried. We've done secrets. Don't live too far from there, and
Yeah.
we're just chasing that high of hedonism and just not getting it
We're not
anywhere
getting it.
else. So
I've never found it anywhere else. I've been to Cap d'Agde in southern France many times. It's not the same. It's got a different vibe. Every
I
place
do
has.
want to go to Cop Dodge. I took 6 years of French, and I feel like it's just going to waste if I don't get naked in France.
And be able to use your skills.
Exactly.
Yeah. Make sure you go with English speaking friends. It can get lonesome if your French is not conversational.
Oh, I don't know any French, so.
Oh, we keep ourselves occupied just fine. So
Excellent.
we can travel anywhere.
Yep.
Anything else worth mentioning, or any other stories that you want to share, Chris?
Oh my gosh. A lot of people wonder about the groups that go down to Hedonism II. That's a
Yes.
big group. What group should I travel with? I don't think it really matters. I happen to sometimes sign up with groups because they have the days available that I want to be there, but you don't have to hang out with them. And sometimes they don't want to hang out with you because they don't know you. And
Right.
it doesn't matter when you go, if there's groups or not, unless it's a group that takes over the whole place. Like some people don't like kinky sex or seeing people bleed on the beach. That does not happen very often, but there's probably 1 week a year where the kink people are there and they might be doing something that's a little more exotic than you like. But for the most part, 22 acres is that hotel. It's big and you can be naked on any of the beaches anywhere and any of the pools you can be naked. So you can always avoid whatever you don't want to see if a group is doing something or is too loud for your taste or too quiet or whatever. You don't have to hang out with the group that you go with and you don't have to go with the group. It's all indifferent and you don't have to book through the hotel, but you can book through the hotel. The pricing, you can test it out with a travel agent and see what they got, or you can go to the hotel and see what they got because it's all up and down and it changes all the time.
Yep.
So that's one thing people get all worked up about. And they worry about what room should I choose. There's like over 15 different varieties of rooms and where they are and what they have available. And there's the new spa rooms that are, 10 square feet bigger than whatever, or it's something.
10 square feet.
No, it's not 10 square feet. I made that up. It's like 2 square feet bigger than the old rooms. And whether you want a jacuzzi or a patio or a balcony. And, I always just go with the cheapest room that's over near the dining room so that I don't have to walk anywhere far in my high heels.
That's true.
And I like the second floor so no one's walking on my head because I can do stairs. I'm still strong.
There you go.
That's where we stayed, right? The 1200 building? Isn't that the one near?
I think that's one of them that's near it. I don't know. We've kind of stayed
We've done it twice where we were
closer to the dining.
and then this last time that we went, got my favorite room I've ever had, Chris.
On accident.
On accident.
Which number?
Do you remember the number? I don't remember. You might know. It's the closest jacuzzi room to the nude pool. So it's
Oh,
like right
wow.
on that corner on the bottom.
Yeah.
And
2180.
I think it was 70 something.
78?
I'm trying to see.
That sounds right.
I
But
had
it
it in
was
a thing.
Party room central.
well, even we didn't treat it like a party room. We are people watchers. That is what
Ah,
we like to do.
yes.
So we would just go set the chairs out, and we could just watch everybody stumbling back and forth from the nude pool to their room and back, and hear all
Uh-huh.
the conversations and watch the people on the beach, talk to people. Obviously, it was the best 3 or 4 days of my life.
It was amazing.
That
Um,
is fun.
so
Oh,
we're like, oh, we got to worry about getting that room now every time we come back. We've set a
exactly.
standard.
Yeah,
So
That's
like,
an
and yeah,
expensive room, but it's got good viewing potential. Oh,
yeah,
speaking of viewing potential, so I'm there in February, and I go up to the bar, walking up to the bar to get a drink, and there is this hot woman laying flat on her back on the concrete on the side of the pool, with her legs being held up by two different people, her head hanging off the back of the concrete. And, and she's screaming and yelling, and people are going down on her one after another. Even the bartenders were fascinated because usually they don't even look or care, but
yeah,
they kept turning their heads because this was like wild stuff going on. What is that? And you don't get to see totally wild stuff all the time.
yeah,
There's a lot of blowjobs, men sitting on the side of the pool, that kind of thing, or reach arounds and stuff for a little hand job. But oh my God, this was rather vigorous. It was
yeah.
fascinating. And then there are the vertical orgies that you can see in the hot tub sometimes because you can stand in it, you can sit in it, you can be up on the side. And you can see like 5 to 6 people all vertically oriented playing with each other. It's like, wow, that's pretty cool too. So
Yeah.
if you're a voyeur or an exhibitionist, you can really get your groove on.
Yep.
yep. That,
It's fascinating what you can see there. And then other times you don't see anything. It's like, where is all the action? Because you're either in the wrong part of the hotel or it's just not happening at that very moment.
Or you
And
can go to
sometimes
the
the nude
sauna.
pool is not shoved in with bodies, but many times by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it is the human gene pool. And it's all like frottage when you walk through there. It's like fondle, fondle, fondle. Not literally, but you're touching because it's so tight. You're just moving
Yeah.
around the water, and that's
Yep.
warm water.
Yeah.
That's why I think nobody goes to the hot tub as much as they used to, because that used to be the warm water. But now Harry heated the pool, so that is like the place to be.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you this story, Chris, is a non-orgasm story that has a laugh to it.
Excellent. I'll write
Yeah,
it down.
and I feel like our listeners may have heard it already, but that's
I
okay. We
remember
can
where you're
tell it
going.
again. We're
Go
going to
ahead.
tell them about the couple from South Carolina that we met.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So this couple from South Carolina uh, decided to come to Hedo on a day pass
On their honeymoon.
on their honeymoon,
Oh
um,
my.
and the woman was absolutely gorgeous, like
Yes.
probably the most attractive woman I've ever seen at hedonism, other than my wife, of course. Um, and and her husband he's a decent looking
I
dude
mean,
too.
yeah.
And they just come to the pool. We're sitting in the nude pool. They're getting ready
We're
to
like right there by that waterfall.
right near the waterfall. They're getting ready to set up a car wash, and they kind of see us, and they just jump in next to us, like, "Hey, y'all, how's it going?" We're like, "Oh, cool," you know. And of course, the first thing we ask, "Are you guys swingers?" And they're like, "No, we're not."
It's like we're on our honeymoon.
So
We're
like,
like,
cool,
oh, holy
we're
cow.
fine being friends with people we're not fucking, you
Right.
know, not a big deal. So we're having a great time with them. I'm talking to the woman. All of a sudden, she starts staring up at her hands, kind of like this, and
Oh.
I'm like, "What you doing?" And she goes, "Oh, the X just hit."
Oh.
And I'm like,
Oh.
Uh-oh.
"Oh." Well, next thing I know, she got picked for the car wash. So
Oh God.
they pick her up. And she is just so enthusiastic. She goes, "I'm gonna get the undercarriages."
Because I will
So
take care of that.
so she grabs a sponge, and she is just vigorously scrubbing the undercarriages of all these men.
Yes.
And then at some point, she, I guess, just got tired of it,
The board, whatever, I
locks
don't know.
eyes with Steph,
Yes.
and just fully sends a belly flop into the pool.
And then like,
So at this point, we're just like, "What the hell is going on?"
well, like she didn't come up
Scared?
for a second. Like her hat, she had a hat on, and I remember like her hat floated to the top, and then she just like didn't come back up. I was like, "Uh-oh, she's dead." And then she just comes up and was like, "That was fun." And we were like, "Okay, this is a little much."
So at this point, we decided to go to that little pool, you know, where the waterfall comes down from.
Yeah, the grotto.
The grotto, yes.
Yeah.
And we're up there chilling, and she looks over at Steph and goes, "Don't you think it would be a fun idea if we just did a belly flop from right here?"
Like standing on the top, going back into the main pool. And I
And
was like,
Steph was like, "Nope."
Nope.
And
Nope.
she goes, "Today's a yes day."
And I was like, it's not.
And we're like,
so
nope.
she stands up and tries to pull me to stand up too. And I was like, I don't know about this. I'm like half sitting, half standing.
Next thing we know, the Jamaican security guard's coming up, and he's, "Ladies, sit down." And
Good.
my wife is not a rule breaker, Chris. So she immediately sat down.
Yes. Yep. Sit down.
This other
Sir.
woman, the best way I can describe it is she looked like a defiant toddler. She just looked that man straight in the eyes and sent it.
And just jumped.
Jumped into the
No,
nude.
she told everybody.
She did. She spread.
Goes, guys, everybody move.
Looked at him and then just jumped, and she belly flopped into the pool. There's probably 100 people below her.
Oh my God.
Everybody's cheering, and then to get back up, she doesn't go up the stairs. No, she decides to crawl up the waterfall. She looked like a damn seal coming back.
How is
in.
that possible?
I don't know.
It
must be the ex.
It must have been the ex.
Yeah.
She slid back in, and I look at her husband, and I'm like, dude, she's about to get in trouble. And he looks at me and goes, "They ain't gonna do nothing. She's too pretty."
We're like,
Oh my God.
Sure as shit, they didn't do anything. Security guard just walked away.
I was like, they're on a day pass. Like, they should have gotten kicked out. Like,
Yeah.
a normal guest would have gotten in trouble. Like,
A lot of day pass people get in real physical trouble. They mess themselves up. Now they have to keep a wheelchair at the nude pool because so many people get screwed up. And like in February again, some guy fell right on his head. There was a pool of blood. It looked like lake blood. I mean, this kind of thing does not happen all the time. I'm talking about the extreme situations.
No, but I mean, you have free-flowing alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff is going to happen.
And you got a lot of drugs.
Every age. And many
Yes.
drugs. Many drugs.
Yes. Well, my favorite sad story of two girls, they were on day passes. They're out of their minds with drugs, having a wonderful time. And suddenly they're in wheelchairs and they've thrown towels over them. Who knows if they were dead or thrown up? And it looked like they were going to race the wheelchairs down the lane in front of the rooms. And it was like, what happened here? Like, you don't see anybody. And 2 years ago, some guy, he's getting head in the pool and he flops over. He died. But he lived again because 4 people jumped on him and did CPR. Pump it, blow, blow, blow. And he came back. And then he flopped over again. Pump it, blow, 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 CPR. They brought him back a second time. Now, this is a 350-pound man. He's there for his 50th birthday. Now, the girl who was giving him head, who knows where she went? She disappeared into the crowd because, like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I would have been like, see ya.
Yeah, this guy's, he's a guest. And he's such a goofball. I meet him the next day in the pool, and he tells me this story. And I meet the people who brought him back to life. And he's still at the hotel because it was his 50th birthday party. He wasn't going to let a little death stop him. He was a party animal. Oh, my God. I don't know if he's still alive. But
that's wild.
People are crazy.
I've said for a long time, Chris, that when I die, I would like to be cremated. And if I'm still lucky enough to have my mother-in-law alive, I would like her personally to go spread them at Hedonism for me, just so that she is forced to experience.
Don't let anybody find out. It's illegal to spread ashes at Hedonism. People have supposedly gotten in trouble. However, people do it all the time.
I bet. Well, I won't tell anybody, but that's my dream.
That's nice.
It's got to be my mother-in-law.
She'd be mortified.
She would be mortified, which would just make it that much better for me. But Chris, I know you've got to get going here pretty soon. But I really enjoyed talking to you.
Well, thank you.
I would love to hopefully have you back once your other book comes out, and we can talk a little more about that.
Make sure we drop her the email.
We will drop your email as well. Make sure everybody checks that out. It'll be the email list. All your sites, actually, we will have in the description of both the podcast and we have the YouTube video too, so people can go to either of those to find all of Chris's details, and make sure you all support it. This book it's really a good first step for couples that want to explore this kind of thing, because it gives you a full, uncensored overview. It's not fluffed. It's nothing like that. This is what you can actually expect.
Yeah, and I'm totally not authorized by the hotel. They give me no benefits whatsoever. Okay. But they don't hate me. They're kind to me. When I ask them questions, I can usually get information.
Well,
Oh,
that's
that's awesome.
that's good. But that's the kind of information we want. We don't want it to necessarily be paid for by a
Right.
resort. You know, we want real information from real people. That's how you get people to feel most comfortable with these
Exactly.
things. And I guess that was our candle going out. So what a good time for us to end.
Yes.
Can you still hear us, Chris?
I can. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'll be happy to come back.
Awesome.
We
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Chris. And everybody else, thank you again for watching another episode of Awkward Pillow Talk. And we will catch you all next time. See ya.